But when Love has a very different reaction than Candace expects, it turns out Candace's threat to bring Joe face to face with himself takes on a whole new meaning. Hey guys, it's Kristen, and today we're going to be deep diving into the major twists of You Season 2. This is more of an explainer video, but if you want to check out my spoiler-free review of the season, you can check out that right over here. On the run from his past, Joe Goldberg, played by Penn Badgley, attempts to hide out in LA with a new identity and a plan to stay under the radar. But all that changes when he meets Love Quinn, played by Victoria Pedretti. He's sort of treating LA like its own rehab. He doesn't want to get obsessed with anyone and make the same mistakes that he did with Beck in the last season. But old habits die hard, and at the end of the first episode, it's clear that Joe has already set up a whole plan in motion, not only to help him get a job, but to help him put him on the path to meet love. It's in the episode Love Actually that the truth comes out and has us uncovering multiple twists. Candace finally traps Joe and even brings Love onto the scene to prove that she was right. But when Love has a very different reaction than Candace expects, it turns out Candace's threat to bring Joe face to face with himself takes on a whole new meaning. Did you catch these red flags? Let's talk through them and explain why Love is just as dangerous as Joe. Consider subscribing if you like my videos, and drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on this new season of You, as well as this whole twist with Love. While Joe has spent this whole season seeing Love as this perfectly imperfect girl, sort of a fantasy of who she truly is, Love has known who Joe is, she's accepted him, and even when she didn't 100% know, she did have some type of feeling that they were cut from similar cloths. Love is the one who actually initiates the first conversation with Joe at a Navrin. She sees something in him, real loss and real love. She can tell just by looking at him that they have a similar type of darkness within them. Even when Joe wants to distance himself from Love to protect her, she's really adamant about connecting with him. She won't take no for an answer, and that's actually when I really started questioning Love as a character. So much so that I usually write down notes when I'm watching a season so I don't forget things, and in the first episode I actually wrote, a cool twist would be if it turned out Love was like him. And as we get to the end of this season, it turns out that's exactly what the situation is. Joe has a discussion with his captive, the real Will, who insinuates that there is definitely a connection between his relationship with his mom and the issues that he has forming relationships with women. And when you take a look at Joe and Love side by side, they have very similar upbringings, abusive households, issues with their mothers. In flashbacks, we see a young 9-year-old Joe end up shooting and killing his father because he was abusing his mother, and we see Love kill their family's au pair because she was abusing her brother. While they were trying to help someone, it seems like these instances have really kind of shaped the way that they love people. They both seem to have developed this sort of warped rationale that killing someone in order to protect someone else is sort of like a positive way to show your love. Sort of like the savior complex, if you will. Now we know that in order to meet Love, Joe sort of used his stalkerish ways, but it turns out that when Love meets Joe, she also develops an obsession with him and the idea of this life and this family that they could have. She reads Beck's memoir and is able to piece together that Joe is the one who killed Beck. Somehow this passion ends up making her fall even more for Joe, especially after she finds his glass cage and all of his little serial killer trophies. Like, she likes it. With the drama of Candace and everything, Joe starts to pull away, and Love will do anything to try to get him back. She goes so far as to flaunt her fling with Milo in Joe's face, and she hints after the fact that she was hoping that Joe would be so jealous that he would show how much he loves her by killing Milo. Definitely a very warped sense of love language, but instead it's Love who ends up killing in order to protect their relationship, killing Delilah and Candace. In another surprising twist, it turns out Joe is actually horrified by what Love has done. I mean, I do think this season Joe was trying to be a better person. We saw him let Will go, and he was going to let Delilah go until, you know, Love came in and kind of did her own thing. But at the same time, I do think it's pretty ironic and hypocritical of Joe to be so taken aback by what Love has done when she did the same things that he did. He's found someone that will give him unconditional love, who feels the same exact way that he does about love and family, someone who will literally kill for him and doesn't mind that he has killed. Love really believes that she is perfect for Joe. She says that Beck was unspecial and mediocre and didn't deserve him. She didn't understand him. She calls Joe her soulmate, and throughout the season, Love really has found out exactly who Joe is and loves him regardless, and maybe even more because of the kind of person that he is. But it's not the same for Joe. We see that he's been putting Love on a pedestal, love the actual emotion and the feeling, but also love the person. The more that I think about it though, Joe really shows us exactly his mindset when he's captured by Candace. This whole time, even though she said that he's crazy and that he's hurt her and all of these things, he's maintained that he hasn't done anything wrong and that it's a misunderstanding, because his whole mindset is everything that he does comes from a place of love. He really starts to question that when he finds Delilah dead and is afraid that he's the one who killed her, because it doesn't make sense for him motive-wise of why he would do that. We see that when he lets Will go, we see that in his intentions with Hendy, which is not to kill him, that's an accident, and with Delilah, he was not planning to kill her. So when Love comes into the picture and it turns out she's the one who actually killed Delilah, that really messes with Joe's whole kind of plan of how he operates. So even though Love has done similar things to what Joe has done, he didn't see a real rational reason for someone like Delilah to die, and that wasn't his plan. And so I think that's why he has such a hard time with the things that she's done. It's interesting to see that that is his whole rationale, that, you know, the things that he does out of love, and if he were to just kill someone to kill them, that's something that's malicious, that's bad, that's not what he is about. Joe goes from nearly killing Love to accepting their future together when she reveals that she's pregnant with his child. It seems Joe is ready to accept his fate, but as he helps Ellie escape from LA, he says he's the only thing standing between her and worse people, which really tells us how he sees himself and how he now sees Love. He feels like he needs to protect people like Ellie from people like Love. He clearly sees Love as sort of the villain now of this story, or even as like a prison warden in a way, especially now that he's trapped with her. Sometimes a man gets exactly what he wishes for, and that can be the most perfect punishment of all. That's what Joe says in a voiceover during the finale. We see Joe living in the suburbs of LA with a very pregnant Love, and thanks to the wealth and power of the Quinn family, all of his crimes are literally untouchable. Even though he's gotten off scot-free and his wish for a real family and love and the woman of his dreams has finally come true, it's become his nightmare. Now he's trapped with this woman who on paper should be his perfect match, but he's still judging all of the things that she's done and can't get over them, even though he's done the exact same things. He seems to have this sort of moral high ground for the bad things that he's done. He considers this new life a prison of his own making, although it makes me wonder, are we really positive that Love's child is really his as well? I mean, there could definitely be some twist there where it turns out maybe it's really Milo's, and that can help Joe get out of this situation. Although it just really seems like Joe will never be happy. He's got everything he wanted, plus a woman that will accept all the bad things he's done and is literally his equal match, but he's still not happy. Instead, in a darker How I Met Your Mother-esque twist, we see Joe kind of look over the fence at his new neighbor, realizing that all of this had to happen to get to his new you. His new obsession with her books and her sunshine is the only silver lining for Joe in this new terror that he's found himself in. While this is the path for what seems like You Season 3, we also can't forget about Love. Since the two of them are an equal match for each other, I could see them ending up having to go against each other in this next season. Love has always wanted this family and will do anything to protect it, so if Joe doesn't stay in line, well, he might be her next victim. If you like this one, you can check out more of my reviews right over here, and I will catch you in my next video. See ya!